Eagles Entertainment.
Welcome, Eagles everywhere, to the Eagles Insider Podcast presented by Lincoln Financial Group. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro at the NovaCare Complex. As we get to the end of this month of February, we turn the pages and we get closer to free agency. Things are going to heat up very quickly with the NFL Combine, with free agency, then the draft, and oh boy, then the Eagles back on the football field. So in this episode of the Eagles Insider Podcast, we thought it would be fun to let you get to know the players a little bit off the field. And there's a couple of great stories that we had to highlight, and we're going to do so here. Number one, former Eagles long snapper Jon Dorenbos, if you haven't heard, leads an incredible life, and his life was really impacted in January quite by accident. We all have known Jon to be the Magic Man. Well, now we know Jon Dorenbos as a hero. We'll hear that story in just a bit. Eagles running back Boston Scott. He's a baller, he's a gamer, and now he's an esports gamer. The first NFL player to join an esports franchise. He talks about that in just a bit. First, Eagles safety Anthony Harris, okay? He could not be more of a professional. Had a fine 2001 season. Signed with the Eagles after playing with Minnesota. In the offseason, he's done something that, well, he reached out to the fans. You know, I know that social media can be, well, depending on the player, a very positive thing or a negative thing. In the case of Anthony Harris, a very positive thing. The story is this. During the year, Harris posted a picture on Instagram of custom-made cleats that honored his late grandfather, who passed away due to COVID-19 complications. A family that had been following Harris since his days as a Viking reached out to Harris on social media and posted their condolences. Well, that same family later asked Harris in December if he would be willing to attend a church dance with their 11-year-old daughter. This young girl, Audrey, in 2021, her grandfather passed away, her father passed away, so the mother reached out to Harris. Would you attend a daddy-daughter dance? Let's hear the story now from Anthony Harris, who, in this world, we need good guys. We need people who care about people. Anthony Harris is at the top of the list.
Anthony, I came across this story of you with a young middle school girl at a dance, and my heart was so warmed. I'd love you to tell me the story, how it all happened, and then I want to get into details about what you are like at a middle school dance.
Yeah, so the family, they've been following my career since I was in Minnesota. And, you know, back when COVID first started, during the season, I ended up losing, kind of like my grandfather, to COVID. And I ended up creating some cleats in memory of him. And I posted them on my social media as a photo of with me walking in with him before the game, and kind of just made that post in honor to him. And I received a message from Holly, just sending thoughts and prayers, and essentially just sending condolences, for my loss. And that really kind of caught my eye. Just that, you get a lot of different messages on social media, and a lot of people, expressing, their following for you and what you do as a player. But I thought that was a big gesture that she did that. So from there on, they just kind of followed my career, and then even to Philadelphia. As Minnesota fans, they just continue to be fans of me and support the team. So this past year, Audrey lost her father and grandfather to COVID, and her mother asked, if I could just send out some prayers for them as they were just kind of going through a tough time. So I kind of just did that, sent out some prayers, said hope all is well, and just kind of checked in here and there as they went through that process. And then I believe it was December or so, she asked if there was an opportunity. She thought it would be a long shot, but that I would be interested in, taking her to the daddy-daughter dance. And I essentially expressed that, I'd be definitely interested and open to it. With the date that she gave me, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it. I just told her, we're looking like we're doing some good things, and hopefully we make this long playoff run. So after we were eliminated, I kind of fully committed and told her I'd be able to make it. And that was kind of how it all just started going from there.
Absolutely incredible. I want to get into your relationship with fans and why you think that's important in just a minute. But tell me about what did you wear? Where did you pick her up? How fancy did you make it? Kind of like, was it a throwback to your prom days?
It felt like it, honestly. It felt like it. So I went into my closet, I'm thinking about what I'm going to wear. Then I'm thinking about, what she's going to wear. So I'm like, I want to make it as special as possible for her. So through my foundation, we were able to set up something and, get her a dress, have her be able to do hair and makeup and things of that sort to get ready to go. And we wanted to, create that, special feel and that prom feel for it. So, I picked out a suit and felt like it would match, kind of simple. Booked my flight, set up driving arrangements and everything, and I was off. I was on my way. So, went up, met with the family. Audrey, she was surprised. Got to meet her brother. Got to actually meet the family for the first time. And, it was just communication via social media. So it was a little bit, unsure because I had never met them before. There was really no communication as far as even talking and hear each other's voice. So got there, tried to break the ice and just, introduce myself, make myself seem as normal as possible, which, I feel like I'm human just like like they are. But I understand, what I do from a football standpoint and stuff like that, and my platform can be a little intimidating. So I tried to just, make it a smooth transition, ask her how her day was going, ask her was she excited, who was going to be there and things of that sort. And then we got on our way. The event was hosted at their church. So it wasn't a school event. It was their church's event. And we went in. They had, sign-in table. There was other young ladies there with their fathers with a ton of dresses and things of that sort. But, I found myself a little bit nervous. It's like meeting a prom date that you never met before. But all to say that it was smooth. We had a ton of fun. We just tried to enjoy the moment.
The story was brought to my attention by my future mother-in-law. She actually called you a hero. This really touched a lot of people. Did you feel like a hero, Anthony? Like, what did it make you feel like?
No, I wouldn't say it made me. I wouldn't say I felt like a hero or anything like that. I actually felt privileged to be able to be in that position, like to have that power of being able to brighten somebody's day with a gesture like that. I think is very powerful. So me just being there, it was an honor to just utilize a bit of my platform, a little bit of what I do, and just who I am as a person to, try to shine a bright spot on a moment that was, seeming kind of dark for someone was a really special feeling to me. That, and then seeing, I don't have any kids, but seeing the other fathers there, and just seeing the look in the young lady's eyes that was there, and just how special that was. I definitely cherished that, and it definitely made me, realize what I was doing for that young lady and just how powerful that, me being there just could be for her.
Was she just smiling ear to ear the entire night?
Yeah, I think in the beginning she was a little bit nervous, and I just tried to, share some of my experiences, with being there and the camera there, to grab some photos, and just the people around, wondering, hey, who's this guy with you? And he plays in the NFL. Just trying to let her see, like, hey, the cameras are there. After a while, it's just about, just being yourself, and just enjoying yourself and letting everything just come. So we had a good time. She showed me a few dances. She showed off her singing. There were a ton of Disney songs that I had no clue, because I don't watch much Disney. Like I said, I don't have many kids. But I think those were the nervous moments for me. I'm like, there's a room full of kids and parents, and they all know these Disney songs, and here I am. I don't know any of them, or not many of them. That was kind of my, like, little shy moment. But, she sang along, and her and some of her friends showed me a few dances, as well as some of the other fathers there, and everybody just had a good time.
I think it's cool. That's the equalizer. You are just another human being, and they actually made you feel a little nervous as she was, right? I think that's cool.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool experience.
Anthony, it really illustrates the power of social media. And I know that a lot of things that players and people hear on social media aren't exactly kind. How kind of gratifying is it that, and just, you feel good about humankind, that a family would follow you like that, no matter where you played, and that they wanted to reach out to you and extend their best wishes to you?
Yeah. I mean, it meant a lot. I think as we've seen over the years, social media is, it's a large space. There can be a ton of positivity on there, but we also know there can be a ton of negativity. So, I usually don't pay a ton, with what's going on in my comments and different things like that. And I try not to, spend too much of my energy or focus or time surrounded by things that aren't positive. So to, get that gesture, and just for a moment, I posted that picture with my cleats on game day, and, for somebody to, just acknowledge for a second that at the end of the day, these are people, they have families, they have emotions. We're all going through a pandemic with COVID, as well as other battles around the world. And for a second, maybe this person could use a little bit of, just acknowledgement of, we understand there could be something going on outside of football right now, but, you're putting on your helmet, and you're putting on your shoulder pads, and you turn your focus and expressing yourself through football today. And I think that gesture was big. So I just really wanted to, pay that back. I really wanted to maximize, the platform that I've been blessed with, and use it to help inspire others. I just feel like that's a very powerful thing. And along my way, I've had a lot of people, not all familiar faces, but sometimes even strangers, make kind gestures that made an impact and difference in my life. So I just felt me doing that is the least I could do to, pay it back.
I think that's just amazing. How's the rest of your off season going? Where are you? What do you do? And what do you think happens moving forward for you?
The rest of the off season has been pretty good. I was able to get into some warm weather, take some time to kind of relax. Currently right now I'm down in Virginia. My nephew has senior night coming up, so I think it's important to, share time and share some love with the people that you love and beside you the entire time. So I'm here now with my family, spending some time. But this off season just looks like continuing to try to grow and improve in every aspect. That's on the field, off the field, continuing trying to show people who I am, not only as a player, but as a person as well, while also, just focusing on improving on the field as well.
No doubt, man. You changed the family's life. I mean, is there anything better than that, really? Like, at the end of the day, is there anything better than that?
No. I take great pride in, what I do on the field and the things that I can be able to accomplish. But, I also know that, from an athletic standpoint, there's always going to be another group of talented players that come along, and some of the things you accomplish as far as records and accolades, at some point they'll be surpassed. But to be able to make an impact in a person's life that I think may be something that they remember forever is awesome.
Amazing. Anthony, thank you so much for your time. Love this story, and I'll see you soon at the NovaCare Complex.
That is an incredible story. So, Anthony Harris, God bless you. You're a great, great guy. We move on to our next story off the field. Boston Scott, Eagles running back, has joined a North American esports organization. They signed Boston as a substitute player and content creator for its Rocket League team. He's also expected to star in future content series, in a content series documenting the start of his esports career. Of course, for Boston, the emphasis is on playing football, but now he's a professional esports player and content creator. And that's just not really my world. But for Boston Scott, for that generation, it certainly is an important part of things. So let's hear it from Boston Scott, now looking to be the best esports player in the world, in addition to being the best football player in the world and winning a Super Bowl.
Boston, you're an esports player. Look, that's your generation, not mine. Can you explain what that means? When I hear esports in football, I feel like you guys are all in the locker room trying to beat each other. Exactly what does this mean?
Yeah, so I was able to ink a deal with Dignitas, which is an esports organization that is actually based in North America. So I've been playing this video game called Rocket League. Honestly, it's just always been like a little hobby, a little pastime of mine. Video games has actually been a part of my life since I was a little kid. Didn't really expect for it to become something like this, but I'm just going to be involved with the esports organization, whether they travel to an event. They do in-person events where the Rocket League team is able to compete in the championship series. So I'll just be involved with that. They have me as a sub, which means basically if one of them were to go down, or if their internet was to go out or whatever it may be, then I could potentially, I don't know if necessarily I'll be playing in a championship series, but it's just, a little more involvement in bridging the gap between sports, esports, and traditional sports.
What can you explain what the game is?
So Rocket League is basically there's different things that you can relate it to. Some people say it's like hockey. I look at it as more of a soccer-based game. So basically, you're controlling a car, and the purpose of the game is to score goals. So basically, the concept is like soccer. You have, 3-man teams, and you guys pass the ball around, you shoot. And so basically, if you wanted to conceptualize it, just think of a soccer game, but you're using cars. That's basically the best way to explain it.
Well, are you great at the game? I mean, do they? So you think that you're one of the?
They have obviously, they have the guys that are competing on the championship level, and their skill and the amount of hours that they've put into the game is just absolutely, it's incredible, honestly. And I'm not quite there as far as how many hours I've been able to put into the game as far as my job and my occupation is concerned, but based on the hours that I have put into the game, and where I'm at as far as ranking is, I guess it's a pretty big deal. And Dignitas saw that. And so, they're wanting to get me coached up. They're wanting to teach me things. I'm pretty raw. Like there are a lot of things that I don't understand. There are a lot of things that I haven't necessarily been exposed to, but they saw that where I'm at ranking wise, they thought it was pretty cool. And so, I'm excited to, be able to work with the team and be able to work with the organization. Great people. But yeah, your boy's kind of nice.
Okay, so where are you ranked? Like, is it a world ranking, a country ranking, a regional ranking?
So your rank is based on. So you do have a global ranking, but it's broken down by region. So globally, the ranking system is universal. So it's like across all regions, and I'm ranked right now the highest. I'm at Grand Champion 2, which is the top. At first, I was just Grand Champion 1, which is .52 or .052 or something like that. But now I'm GC2, which is a little bit higher than that. So there's Grand Champion, and the highest level is called SSL or Supersonic Legend. So I'm at Grand Champion 2, and based on the amount of hours I have in the game, which is a little bit above 1,000, I mean, in comparison to others who are at that same rank, it could take, the word on the street is it takes anywhere from 3,000 or more to get to the rank that I'm at now. So, yeah, but it's a ranking system that's universal. It's a global ranking system, and I'm at Grand Champion 2, which is 2 down from the highest rank in the game.
And I know that, your off season is about becoming a better football player, and you're putting a lot of time into that.
Correct.
Is another part of it you want to become, a grand champion? And how much time are you putting into improving your esports game?
Right. I think it's a big part of this whole deal becoming a thing was Dignitas's understanding of, my number one priority, which is football. And like you said, becoming a better football player. So that always comes first. There's nothing that trumps that as far as, what I'm committed to and what I'm dedicated to. But, obviously whatever I put my mind to, I'm trying to become great at it. You know what I mean? And so they know that football comes first, but, I believe that with, being involved with them and then getting coached and all that kind of stuff, I think that, I could eventually become better at the game. But they know that my number one priority is football, and that's what I'm going to be focused on. That's what I'm going to be committed to, and then everything else comes after.
Boston, do the top players make money in this sport? Is it a sport? First of all, do you believe it's
Correct.
a sport? Do you believe these guys are athletes, and do you make money?
Yes, absolutely. If you look at esports as a whole, you can kind of see it's been trending upwards as far as popularity, as far as exposure, and then with that, resources, So the prize pool for this year, the championship series is going to be around $6 million. And mind you, Rocket League is actually not considered one of the top esports. You have Call of Duty, you have Halo, you have League of Legends, you have Valor, you have all these different other games that, the prize pool and the money is just absolutely absurd. So you could do, there's definitely the numbers and statistics out there, but it's been trending upward, and I saw it as a great opportunity. Like I said, one of my pastimes and one of my favorite things to do is play video games. And I just think that as we're kind of transitioning into this digital age of, NFTs and cryptocurrency and all these types of things, I just think that, I think it's a great opportunity, one, to, be involved in the community like I've always wanted to be. But also I think that there's really some relevance there as far as, the merging of traditional sports and esports and partnerships and collaborations. You see, like, FaZe Clan has collaborated with the NFL, for they're doing like a flag football type thing, and they have the fan controlled football that's going on that kind of bridges the gap between gaming and traditional sports. So I really think that, that there's a great opportunity there. And so I'm just looking to bring more exposure to, Rocket League, which is such a simple game. It's easy to watch. It's easy to understand, and I think that the skill level is continuing to evolve. And I honestly see, it being, I've seen it at times, be showed on TV, on ESPN and things like that. But I definitely think that Rocket League specifically is a unique type of game. It's easy to understand, and people can definitely get behind it. It's just a matter of exposure and getting it out there more.
it sounds really like I'm old. I don't really get it. But answer the question. This is the question. Is an esports player an athlete?
Yes, I believe so. So if you think about if you're able to become a pro at anything, it's one thing, okay, yeah, video games kind of has this stigma of, they play video games, there's not really much to it, but the hand-eye coordination, the fine motor skill that goes into being able to understand a game, like specifically like any game, honestly, but being able to understand a game specifically like Rocket League where physics comes into play, being able to track a ball and be able to be coordinated enough to read the ball, the trajectory of the ball, all that kind of like that stuff is hard. And to be able to do that at a high level and at a high speed is honestly crazy. And people just need to watch more of what the pros are able to do and then, go and actually try it for themselves. And they'll be able to realize, just how hard, the games are. And then being able to compete at a high level it's honestly crazy. So if you ever get a chance, Dave, go look at just Championship Series, Rocket League, and watch what some of the people are able to do, and you go try it for yourself, and then you can make your own, you can make your own analysis based off of that. But I mean, all people hear is video game. And like I said, there's always been kind of a stigma around that it's not as important, but the mental aspect of it is something that we shouldn't underestimate because it takes a pretty special person to be able to play that, at the level that some of these guys are playing at.
I appreciate that, and I thank you for the invitation. I'm going to just send Eagles fans there. Because I really don't want to embarrass myself in a video game. I mean, my video game experience is like 1,000 years ago when I was very good, but we weren't making money on that. That's for sure. So like on a normal Wednesday night, could an Eagles fan run across you and play against you? And if they can, how would they do that?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the works now of some opportunities where I'll be able to interact with fans and be able to play with them. That's something that I'm definitely, like, one of the things I talk about is like just this idea of like a community, and being able to interact with people based on this game, so I think that some of the opportunities that I'm stepping into will allow me to do that. But that's definitely something that, I look forward to doing, just being able to, another way to interact with fans, and something that, people see us on the field, people see us playing, they're just like, they can watch us, you know what I mean, but they can't necessarily do what we do. This is kind of an opportunity because it's kind of, video games is kind of open for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, if you have the commitment, if you have like the dedication to doing it and playing it, then, anybody can play. And I feel like that's kind of the beauty of, gaming in general,
Well, Boston, I mean, I think it's very cool. And, clearly your goals have changed. Your goal is to be a world champion football player and also literally be a world champion gamer. Am I correct?
Yeah, for sure. But no, football comes first. Football definitely comes first.
Oh, no doubt. It's just really interesting to me. Like, you're right. The stigma is that gamers are slackers, and that is clearly not the case any longer. I mean,
right.
It's all about
bringing the getting it out there into the word of just what the type of time that people put into learning more about the game and getting better at the game. Because I know like when people think about video games, they think about like it's just a hobby, it's just a pastime, it's just something that you do, to have fun, and that is the case. I'm sure everybody that plays it at a professional level is still having fun with the game, but there is some credibility that goes with that as well, because it's not easy to become a pro at anything, So I definitely think that being able to kind of dismantle that idea of gamers being this or gamers being that is important, because I think it's really, like I said, I think it's a cool opportunity for ultimately people to connect and to create community for people that aren't just involved in traditional sports.
So Eagles fans, make sure you reach out. And if you can find Boston Scott, challenge him to a game because he's a professional gamer. All right, we go from those stories to a really remarkable story. Jon Dorenbos, we've known him, former Eagle, former Pro Bowl Eagle. America's Got Talent, the Magic Man. We know everything about Jon Dorenbos. Well, what we know now is that he's a hero. And one night in January, he and his wife went shopping at Trader Joe's. They went out for a drink. They wanted to have a good time in Huntington Beach, California. And then everything changed. What would you do when confronted with a true emergency? How would you respond? Here is a truly amazing story from the Magic Man and a hero, former Eagle, Jon Dorenbos.
Well, Jon Dorenbos, you never cease to amaze, and you are in the news lately, not for your football prowess, not for your magic, but for your sense of timing and your humanity. Could you please tell me the story in your words? It's such an amazing story, and you're a hero.
You know, it was one of those things where so many things happened that we should not have been there. And, my wife and I were both tired. My wife's back was hurting, but we ended up getting a babysitter. And so we said, hey, let's go to the grocery store. Let's run some errands while we got some help. So we went there. We did that. And then my wife said, hey, look, we got a babysitter. You know, her thing is let's go do adult things, right? So let's go sit on a patio, have a glass of wine. And so a few doors down from Trader Joe's, we ended up doing that. And I said, if the table outside is open because there was nobody outside, then we'll do it, and I'll bring the groceries to the car. So we went and sat. The patio was open. I took 5 bags of groceries, probably 50, 60 yards away to my truck, put them away, and I just happened to see this big blue blanket. And I know this, if my wife is warm on a patio, we stay outside. If my wife gets cold, we go inside, and I didn't want to go inside, so I grabbed the blanket for her. And as we're sitting there, a few doors down, a family sat down, and a waitress came out to take their order. And we heard the most intense scream I've ever heard. And so we thought it was a fight or somebody had a gun. And so, we stood up to make sure that we were safe and just to kind of see what was going on. And apparently the waitress's apron had caught on fire from a tiny box heater that they put on the ground to keep the customers warm. And I would say in the matter of 2 or 3 seconds, we saw it go from the apron on fire to her completely engulfed in flames.
And your first thought is what, Jon?
You take a second to process, and then I grabbed my wife's blanket and just ran over in that area. Because since quarantine, think about it, all the tablecloths, all that stuff's gone. So there was nothing there to put the fire out. And this woman ended up running away from the restaurant in just a panic, and she was spinning around and running. And, you assess the situation. I'm so thankful for all the years I got to play in the NFL, just to kind of process what's going on, to kind of your body speeds up, your mind slows down, and then after it's all said and done, you can go back and say, what could we have done differently? If this ever happens to us, what would we do differently? And, when you run and spin, all you're doing is throwing oxygen in the fire, and so the fire got bigger and bigger, and when her hands would go in the air, the flames were over her head. So I grabbed the blanket. I ran probably 30, 40 feet, maybe 50 feet, 2 doors down as she was running away. I took my jacket off and kind of got it over her face because her face hadn't caught on fire yet. And then I took the blanket and tried to pat it down. And literally, I was just acting like what you see in the movies. And that wasn't working. And then I finally got the blanket around her, took her to the ground, and just kind of smothered it out. And then the reality sets in, right? So she then rolls over and kind of rolls out of the blanket. And she had no clothes on the whole backside. So her shoes were melted off, all her leggings, her pants, the back of her shirt, and it was definitely a sight that I'll never forget. She's undergone over 22 hours of surgery. It looks like she'll be in the hospital another month. 3rd-degree burns all in the back of her legs, her butt, her lower back, and it was super intense. And I'm just so happy that we were there. I'm so happy that I had that blanket. I'm so happy that, look, what happened, and the fire didn't get to her face, so her face is great. You can follow them on Veggielicious US on Instagram, VEGILICIOUS US, and they post pictures of her recovery. Some of them are really graphic. I'll just warn you. They have a GoFundMe on that Instagram. And so, the interviews came out, and the manager of Trader Joe's ended up recognizing me. They did an interview. She said, "Hey, Jon Dorenbos did it." They kind of tracked me down, and then that's why we did the interviews. But that said, I feel a responsibility to try and help. I got a lot of friends that have been very generous with these people. It's a Japanese couple. They don't speak a lot of English. We have not eaten at that restaurant, but the people that were coming out, neighbors from across the street, said they're the nicest people in the world. It's a mom and pop. You go to their website, it says, we serve our food with energy and love. We're sorry if you have to wait, but it's just us two. But we promise you it's worth it. So, they're the American dream, and now they got a little setback, and it's a big one. So that's why I'm here, just trying to help them.
Yeah, I mean, Jon, in so many ways, it's incredible. In the days and weeks that have passed here, have you kind of replayed it in your mind? I mean, I guess, number one, you're courageous for running up to her and risking your own life. Number two, I don't think I would know how to wrap somebody properly. You learn that from watching TV?
You know what? I've said this before, that when I snapped in the NFL, I was like Matt Damon in The Bourne Identity, and I was just I would act like I was a great long snapper, and you just go act like it, right? That was a scenario that it was like Adam Sandler and Meet Chuck and Larry, and they're firemen, and you hear when you're a kid, stop, drop, and roll, and it was just one of those things that when the moment happened, just all that stuff played back in my brain, and you just, you get them to the ground and you smother the fire with a blanket, and really that was the only thing we had besides a few cups of water and maybe a napkin. I would say she was probably, and I wish there was security footage just to replay it, but I would say she was on fire for probably 20, 25 seconds,
oh my God.
30 seconds. Oh. That's a long time, 25 seconds. So a fire extinguisher, the restaurant we were eating, the owner came out, saw what was going on, and then he ran 75, 80 feet to go get a fire extinguisher in the kitchen, to then run 80 feet back to get outside, to go around his patio to get to us. That's 45 seconds, right? So we got the fire out. Fire extinguisher showed up probably 20 seconds, 30 seconds after I got the fire out. But if you think about that, had we not had the blanket, had we not acted, then she's on fire for probably a minute. And, from what I've read, 30 seconds to a minute, and it's not good. Usually you don't make it. And so I think we were just in time. And, the other thing that you think of looking back, I've pretty much cried the first 8, 9, 10 days. At a point in time during the day, you just stop, and my wife and I would look at each other, and you just tear up. And, you think about, oh my gosh, what if Amaya was sitting there, my daughter, and she had a blanket next to that heater, and that blanket just went up in flames? What if you caught on fire and I wasn't there? You just hope that somebody looks at that individual and says, hey, there's a mother, there's a wife, there's a sister, there's a friend, and they're in a really bad shape. I got to help. It's just, there's no other option. And so, what I learned is if there's a box heater on the ground at a restaurant and you're cold, just go ahead and push that thing a little bit further away and deal with it.
Yeah. Jon, last I looked on the GoFundMe page, the numbers were really encouraging. It was up well over $100,000. I know the goal is over $1 million. So Eagles fans, we really urge everyone to support Jon and his courageousness, and let's make sure that this woman comes out of this as whole as she can possibly be.
Yeah, Spuds, and if I could add one more thing, sometimes, everybody gets hit up for money all the time, right? And, I scrolled through that, and there's some donations that are literally a few dollars, $2, $3, $4, $5. Anything helps when the masses get involved. So I know they have insurance. It covers a little bit, but it doesn't cover nearly everything. I know she's going to be in the hospital probably a month and a half, 2 months. And that, that's 16, 17 grand a day. And then they're a mom and pop. So if they don't work, they don't eat. And so I appreciate you, Eagles fans. I always have appreciated you. I love you. You guys have always supported in what I do. If you don't feel comfortable donating, that's fine too. Just tell the story to somebody and just share the knowledge, go over the situation. If this were to happen to us, how would we act? What would we do if our kid caught on fire? All these things are learning moments in life that we can help someone and educate ourselves to hopefully never have this happen again.
John, I think, again, just a courageous moment. And I'm going to bring a little bit of a humorous side to this, not intending at all to make light of the situation, but you said you sprinted 30 yards. I'm glad you still have the burst. 30 steps. Congratulations.
Well, don't get too excited. I was really sore the next day, and I figured out that's what it was from, because I definitely haven't traveled that far that fast in years, and a lot of people might even argue my entire career. So, we're breaking records left and right over here, Spuds.
Yeah, and you're saving lives, John. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again soon here. Hopefully, we'll see you back in Philly real soon.
Yeah, and hey, whether you air this part or not, this is unsolicited. You're one of my favorite people, Spuds. I loved working with you every day. I love what you do, and thank you for your time.
By the way, that GoFundMe page, it is a special one. Okay, it is a special one. Help Anna walk again. So go to GoFundMe, and you can find out. There's almost $200,000 raised. Again, the name that you want to look for here, and it's a very special person, as you heard John respond. You just look it up, okay? Because it is just as John said, any little bit that you can help will be so beneficial to Anna, A-N-A, and the last name is Nakoa, N-A-K-O-A. Help her walk. Fundraiser for, it's actually in that GoFundMe area, it's fundraiser for Akira Nakoa. So help Anna walk again from severe burns on her legs. Every little bit helps. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of the Eagles Insider Podcast, presented by Lincoln Financial Group. We've got the Combine coming. We've got free agency coming. We've got the NFL Draft. It's all right ahead of us in what is going to be an epic offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. I want to thank Peter Kelly, Julie McLaughlin, Ray Doyle for their work on this podcast, and thank all of you for joining each and every episode. If you have a moment to give us a review, we include a link in the details section of your podcast library. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro. Once again, thanks so much for joining, everyone. Have yourselves a great Eagles day. Fly, Eagles, fly, and go Birds!
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!